Hello, my name is Benjamin Kwak and today we are going to talk about Azure API Center. So, let's start. Let's do the overview. So, what is the API Center for? Mainly it's to centralize the tracking of an organization's APIs so we can have the all APIs in the same place, across them. For example, we have the 10 API managements, different environments, organizations, etc. So we can just make a one API center to discovery, reuse and governance it. So discovery is the process of finding and understanding the APIs available within an organization. Reuse is the ability to use existing APIs for new purposes or in new applications, reducing the need to develop the similar functionality from scratch. And the governance is implementing policies, standards, and practices to ensure that APIs are secure, compliant with regulations, and meet the organizational quality standards. So the key features is the cataloging APIs, governance, the frameworks, and facilitation of API discovery and reuse. So this is the frequent question. What is the difference between the API Center and API management? So API Center focuses on inventory, the discovery and governance of APIs, and management is designed for managing, securing, and publishing APIs through an API gateway. So this is not the best practice to create new APIs in the API Center, but just manage the already created ones. Let's head over to the demo. So first of all, you need to create the API Center. So you basically just write API Centers, create a new one. Just fill in the fields. So when we are in already, we can start with the metadata schema. So this is basically the addition to the metadata of the APIs. So for example, we can make the cost center, make the identification, and set the property if it's the object number string. We can set the rules, set the environments, deployments, and we will set it to the optional, and we can create it. The main thing, the APIs, there are multiple ways to register the API. First of all, we can do it for here and specify the API fields, but we will use the API management export import with the Azure CLI. So we are heading back to the API Center and we can see there's nothing here. So now when we have the API management services, let's take the dev one. And to use the Azure CLI, which is so it looks like that. So first of all, we need to acquire the resource ID. We go over to the properties, copy that ID, head over here, it, but we also need to write the APIs, and the APIs we want to take. If we want all, we are just doing that sign. Yeah, so this is it. But before that, we also need to in the API Center, we need to make the system assigned status to on. So we have the object ID. So the identity is created, and then in the management, API management, we need to create a role assignment to read the APIs. So we will do it. Let's make the service reader role. Get the managed identity. Put the API Center. Select review assign. All right. And now we can go back and make the command. So as you can see, I have one API, which is called API from MGMT. Perfect. We are successful. Let's head back over to the APIs, and we can see that we have the imported API from the API management. Now we can edit it, the summary, description, licenses, etc. We can also do the versions. We can add new version. And set the lifecycle. Great. We can also do the additional deployments. Get the environment. If you don't have an environment, we can create new. And we can set the environments, the title, identification, environment type. So it's development, testing, staging, and production. Set the runtime URL if you have any specific URLs for that. Yeah, I will just do it as the example. Oh, we need to insert the definition for the new deployments. So we'll be doing the original one and create. Yeah, so those are the specific informations in the API Center. There is an extension in the Visual Studio Code that you can use, install, that looks like that. So you need to log into the proper account, and you can see the APIs right from here. Check the specific versions, environments, etc. And we can also check the definition of each ones. And for example, we can open API documentation. Yeah, so this is the example how to acquire those features. Also, we can use the GitHub Copilot we can talk to him with the specific informations. For example, if we want to list available API managements, APIs, I mean. And as we can see, you can also read that there are no specific operations inside the document. So let's get the new API that contains proper definitions inside. I will create a new one in the API management from the file. And then we are going to change the name, pet store, over to the Azure CLI. So we just get the one we've added. As we can see, the new API is imported. Let's go back to the API Center, refresh it. There we go. We can see the definition. Let's open it. And it's just a normal Swagger that you can try out right from the Visual Studio Code. Again, we could use the chat, API Center, list all available APIs. Oh, but it's not refreshed. I had to restore the Visual Studio Code. As we can see, there is also the find option. So I tried the pet, and we have the specific operations from our API Center APIs. There is also an API Center portal, which you configure in the portal settings. You need to provide the SPN, the client ID, and you have the link right there. And you are able to see all the APIs right here in the API Center portal when you can share it, use it, etc. So, cool. I hope that you have learned something. I will post the documentation links in the description. Like and subscribe, make a comment, and see you again next time.